Hello, everyone. We're so happy you all are here today. I see some familiar faces. Hi, Dick. Hi, Darlene. And some new faces, too. So we're going to get started in just about 1 minute. But in the meantime, we have a chat box question. And for today's question, we're looking forward ahead for this year. So what is one thing you're looking forward to in 2024? So go ahead, share what you're looking forward to, and then we'll get started in just about 1 minute.
You can go your own way. Your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. Your own way. You can go your own way. Your own way. You can call it another lonely day. Another lonely day. You can go your own way. Your own way. You can call it another lonely day.
All right, thanks for sharing your answers in the chat. I think we're all looking forward to warmer days based on our answers today because it's so cold out. Lots of camping trips, new adventures. Jessica is learning about forest bathing, which sounds so delicious right about now. So we have a lot of things to look forward to in this year, and we have a lot of things to look forward to at Volunteer West Virginia. So I'm really happy you all are here. We have a lot of things happening right now. This webinar couldn't have come at a better time, so we're excited to share how we can help you. So to introduce ourselves, my name is Dana Bryant. I'm the Outreach Officer here at Volunteer West Virginia. I'm joined with Christina Cochran. She's going to be helping with the chat question. So if you have any questions during this webinar, put it in the chat and Christina will be able to help you. And then we also have a special guest today. We have Hannah Stone. She's our AmeriCorps Program Director, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about AmeriCorps. So if you've never joined us before, this is our yearly webinar series. I want to say this is our third or fourth year. Time flies. But we started this during COVID as a way for everyone to connect in the state, and it's been so successful. We've just kept it rolling. So this is a monthly training series. It's free, and we explain our programs, we network, we provide free trainings, and then most of all, we have fun. So this is just a really laid back use of an hour. And we appreciate you sharing your time with us because we know you all are busy. So we worked on the schedule, Christina and I did, and we're really excited with how it turned out. So here's just a sneak peek of some of the topics we're going to be covering this year. Next month, we're going to be talking all about the Governor Service Awards. And if you've never heard of that, I'll explain it a little bit today. So we're going to be sharing tips and tricks how to write a winning nomination. So if you have an outstanding volunteer in your organization, this is a great way to recognize them. And then in March for AmeriCorps Week, we're going to be doing AmeriCorps 101, just really getting into the nuts and bolts of AmeriCorps, whether you'd like to host an AmeriCorps member at your site or if you have people that you're working with that want to be AmeriCorps members, we'll be talking about that. In April, for National Volunteer Month, we're going to do volunteer management training. That's going to be a special 2-hour training. And then in May, we've never done this topic before. This is going to be basic grants management training. So this training is going to talk about after you get the grant, how do you manage it? And this is going to be a special 2-hour webinar as well with Nikki from the Grant Advantage. So all of these are on our website right now. You just look for the Volunteer West Virginia tab and go ahead and sign up so they're on your calendar. So today's topic is all about meeting Volunteer West Virginia. So we're really flattered that you're here and you want to learn about us. We're going to start out with a pop quiz, no stress. That might have taken you back to your high school days, but it's going to be a fun quiz just to see how much you know about us. And then we're going to share some history and goals of Volunteer West Virginia, our accomplishments from the past year. And then at the end, we're going to be talking about our programs and how we can help you, because that's our goal here, is to help all the nonprofits and community organizations in the state. And then if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or save them to the end if you would like to unmute yourself and chat with us. So to get started, we're going to do our pop quiz, and it's going to be, how well do you know Volunteer West Virginia? And this is a unique quiz because the losers are the winners. So don't worry. So right about now, you should see the pop quiz up on your screen. If you don't, just shout out in the chat, and I believe there are about 5 questions. So go ahead and see how much you know about us. All right, and we'll give you just a few more, about 1 more minute. I see some answers coming in. The first question I think is the hardest. It is, what is Volunteer West Virginia? And then we get into a little bit deeper. So let's see. I'm just going to give it about 20 more seconds. It looks like about half of you have responded to our quiz. All right, let's jump in it. So number 1, what is Volunteer West Virginia? It looks like the group's consensus is that we are a nonprofit, but you might be surprised to know that we're a state agency. So we're a really small agency. We've been around for about 25 years, and we have a staff of 9 of us. So we're a state agency, which always surprises people. And one of our biggest goals is to administer the AmeriCorps funding, and I'll share a little bit more about that in a second. Okay. Which of the following organizations does not support an AmeriCorps program in West Virginia? And it looks like Friends of Felines was the correct answer. So we don't have an AmeriCorps program for cats yet. I don't know if that's even possible, but if you picked that, you got the right answer. And then 2 more questions. How long has Volunteer West Virginia been around? I think I gave myself away when I said 25 years. We've been here. And then lastly, true or false, we currently have 2 funding opportunities available for applications, and all 13 of you are correct. We have 2 funding opportunities that we're promoting right now, so stay tuned for more details on that. So that's just a little bit about us, and we're excited to tell you a little bit more. All right, so our history, we've been around for over 25 years. We were founded at first to administer the AmeriCorps funding. So the AmeriCorps funding is federal funding, and every state, for the most part, set up a state commission for community service. That's what we are. So we can pass through those AmeriCorps funding at a local level. So that's how we started, but we do so much more. We've grown over the last 25 years. And we like to keep our mission pretty simple. Our mission is to promote volunteerism across the state. So that's our bread and butter. And we're going to sprinkle in just a few historic moments as we go through this presentation. So I love these 2 pictures. Here on the left-hand side, we have one of the first classes of AmeriCorps members in the state, and this was in 1996. And you'll see what a small group that was compared to our most recent class of AmeriCorps members. This is us in Flatwoods in November, I want to say, October, November. And look how much we've grown. So we have almost 500 AmeriCorps members that serve in the state each year. So we've really grown over the last 25 years, And I think that's pretty evident by looking at this picture. And then some of our goals at Volunteer West Virginia as a state agency is we make it easier for West Virginians to volunteer. We provide funding and support to AmeriCorps programs in the state. And if you don't know what AmeriCorps is, you're in a good company. We'll talk more about that later. We support and strengthen West Virginians' nonprofits and volunteer programs by doing trainings like our Volunteer West Virginia Wednesday series. And we also host a grant writing training and volunteer management training. So we're really here to support our state's nonprofits and volunteer programs. And then lastly, you might be surprised to know that we also promote emergency preparedness and disaster volunteerism as well. So I'm like so thrilled to give you all, you're going to be the first people to see our latest annual report. I just got them today, and so I'm really happy to share it with you. So here's just a little bit of a breakdown of our funding from the past year, if you're curious, if you're a numbers person. So you'll notice our biggest funding is through federal grants. That's the federal money we receive from AmeriCorps. And then you'll also see that our state funding is very small. So that's about 3% of our budget. So we're really a great investment for the state. We bring in lots of money that we share through AmeriCorps programs, education awards, and different grants. So we like to point this out, that we're just a really great investment for the state. And then here's some of our accomplishments. So this blue puzzle piece, we're so excited that we put the puzzle pieces together and that our program reached all 55 counties this year. So no matter what county you're in right now, whether you're in Elkins or Wheeling, we've reached your county in some way, shape, or form, whether it be an AmeriCorps member serving in your county, providing a mini grant for a volunteer project, all the way down to having training in your community. So we're really thrilled. We haven't reached that number in the past few years. We've awarded over $2 million in AmeriCorps Education Awards. So that means for a year of service, you receive an education award. So this year we awarded $2 million from across the state. And then the last two puzzle pieces are what I talked about on that previous slide. So for every state dollar invested in Volunteer West Virginia, the state receives an additional $27.99 from federal, local, and private sources. And then lastly, we granted over $7 million to support programs like yours in the state over the past year. And here's a little snap. Another historic moment that we like to share was the volunteer response to the 2016 flood. We love to highlight this. When the flood first started, our website literally crashed because there were so many people looking for volunteer opportunities to help. I want to say maybe 2,000 people signed up. So we really like to spotlight this whenever there's a large scale disaster. We like to promote volunteer opportunities throughout the state so people can help, like they're doing here in this picture of Rupert. And then here's our staff. So we are a staff of wonderful ladies. We aren't very big. We like to point this out. We're pretty efficient and we love working together. And then you can kind of see some faces that you might have recognized and some new faces that you haven't met yet. So here's just a snapshot of our staff. And then I'm going to wrap up with one more historic moment. This is one of my favorite moments. This is when we launched the Be Kind campaign, and I want to say 2018. And the premise behind this campaign is to share kindness. So volunteering can be as easy as being kind, letting someone in for traffic, opening a door. And we wanted just to point this out. So it's kind of like a gateway to volunteering. So if you've ever seen our Be Kind billboards or heard a commercial on the radio, now you know it comes from us. And this is a message that we really stand behind, and we're always trying to promote kindness through our agency. And now we're going to break down the 3 different branches at Volunteer West Virginia. And this is where your ears can perk up and learn about how we can help you as a state agency. So the first branch I'm going to introduce will be our Volunteer Services Division. And this is all different ways that we help to support volunteer programs and volunteers in the state. So we always like to say in West Virginia, volunteering is just a way of life. And so we want to make it just a little bit easier because we're always looking out for each other, helping our neighbors. And I think that's one of the really special things we have going on in West Virginia. So the first thing I want to share is all about the Governor's Service Awards. This is our annual volunteer recognition event. If you have a volunteer or a group of volunteers at your agency, this is a great way to recognize them. The nominations are just open. They open this week, and we have all different categories. So whether you work with youth, young adults, adults, or seniors, you can nominate them. And maybe you know a volunteer in your community that you go to church with, or that's a neighbor that's been volunteering for their whole life. You can nominate them for a Lifetime Achievement Award. And then lastly, we have the group category. And this is a pretty vast category. This would be anything from a family to a business that volunteers in your community, or maybe a group of informal volunteers that step up to help. Any group will fall under this category. And we're really happy to share that this year the award ceremony will be held on June 13th at the Culture Center here in Charleston. So here's a flashback of last year's recipients. We normally have one recipient in each category. So for our youth recipient, we had Marin Boblitz from Edmond. She's a really active volunteer with the 4-H group there. We love sharing her story. She's such a beautiful young adult. And then we were also surprised to have a young adult recipient as well, Sequoia Ware from Huntington. She's an AmeriCorps Vista, and in her free time, she helps volunteer to help individuals without homes in Huntington. And we have Susan James Hagan. If you're from Wheeling, I bet you know Susan. She's remarkable. She's involved in everything there. So we were really happy to share her story. And then lastly, we have Libby Lucas from Ansted. She volunteers in a menagerie of ways in Ansted. I would say she's a local celebrity. For her nomination, someone actually wrote it down on paper and sent it because they were just so touched by what she does. So she's in the middle in front of the dog. So she was really wonderful. And then we had Fran Welp. So if you're in the disaster field, you might know Fran from her work helping with the flood in Moorfield and a whole bunch of things. And then lastly, let's see. Very cool. Erin did a shout out that she nominated Sequoia last year and that the process worked well. So I didn't even know you were on the call, Erin. That's really cool. That's a full circle moment. So we really enjoyed sharing Sequoia's story. And then I think we have another nominator on the call as well, who nominated the Davis Medical Center Pet Therapy Team. I want to say Valerie Bright nominated them last year. And we're going to share their story because it's pretty unique and cool. So let's go ahead and just highlight one of these recipients so you can see what it's like.
I've had all kinds of dogs, but there's just something different about Ellie. She's just a special dog. We got her when she was 8 weeks old, and I noticed I was raising her. She was just a different kind of dog. She was more laid back. There was something special about Ellie. So I first started taking her to one of the local nursing homes where she didn't have to be certified. She just had to have all her shots updated, and it went so well. The residents responded so well, and she did so well with them. I thought, we got to keep doing this. I went through the training process, which to get her, she's certified with Therapy Dogs International. To get her certified, there was 12 or 15 part test that she had to go through, obeying verbal commands, walking, being around people in wheelchairs. They would come towards her with wheelchairs and walkers and making noise and things like that. And she, couldn't be afraid of them or respond adversely. So she did really well with the testing. So that's what after I got her certified, we started coming here to the hospital, and we've been coming here ever since.
When I learned that Mark and Ellie were going to volunteer with us, I was impressed because so many of our volunteers are older retirees. Here's someone younger, still working with a family, balancing all of that and making it a commitment, really setting a priority to, I want to support the patients and the employees of Davis Medical Center. So to make it a priority showed me he was a very giving and gentle person. I think volunteers here at Davis Medical Center have a real impact because it's an unfamiliar place. Whether you're coming in for just x-rays or lab work or you're admitted to the hospital, it can be frightening. They're seeing doctors, nurses, technicians all day long, and here's something friendly and comforting, and it just kind of relieves everyone's tension.
A lot of people don't know my name, and I'm perfectly fine with that, but as soon as she comes down the hall, you hear them yelling, "Ellie, Ellie!" Everybody knows who Ellie is. You'll see the smile come on their face instantly. Volunteering with Ellie is not just good for the patients and staff here, but it makes me feel wonderful. And we can't wait until Fridays. When I say, "Ellie, let's get ready to go to work," then she'll run downstairs to where her Davis Medical Center bandana is hanging, and she'll wait and have that put on her, and she's ready to go. She knows the routine. She's a great dog for visiting people at hospital, but when we get out of here, she's just a dog. We have so much fun together. We run around, like I said, hike. We ride around in the car with our sunglasses on, and people in town take pictures of her and videos. And
I think Mark and Ellie are deserving of recognition, of award, because they give so selflessly and just make everybody at ease. And that's a real gift for any volunteer.
So that's just one of the stories from this year's Governor Service Award. I think it kind of explains the vibe of the award ceremony. So if your nominee's selected, they'll get a video produced. We'll have a videography team come visit them to share their story. They get a really beautiful award, and then you get to invite your friends and family to an award banquet. So if you had a volunteer pop in your mind while you watched that, please nominate them. We would love it. So all nominees receive a special certificate from the governor. So if your volunteer doesn't get selected as a recipient, they'll still get a really nice letter from the governor to surprise them. And if you're interested, join us for next month's Volunteer West Virginia Wednesday on February 7th, where we will be sharing some tips on how to nominate a volunteer. And I also wanted to share before we move on that we have a brand new nomination form this year. So we've made it even easier. In the past, you had to write an essay, and now it's fill in the blank. And back to the school metaphor, it seems like fill in the blanks were always so much easier than essay questions. So if you've been intimidated in the past or thought, I don't have time to put together an essay, go ahead and visit our new nomination form, because we're trying to make it as simple as possible so we can get these stories out there. And then another thing we do in our volunteer services division is we share volunteer opportunities on our website. It's really quick and easy. You don't have to register to post or find a volunteer opportunity. You just go to our website, and as soon as you visit it, you'll see a big button that says Need Volunteers, or on the right-hand side, you'll see a form where you can fill it out and find opportunities in your community. So we've started this, I want to say last year, so we're still trying to beef up our system, and there's actually 4 counties that we haven't reached yet. If you want to guess, and I'll share them with you on the next slide. So our goal is to have all 55 counties on our website, because we always want to be inclusive, and we need help reaching Calhoun, Grant, Mingo, and Morgan. So if there's anyone on this call from those counties, you would make my week if you posted your volunteer opportunities so we could reach all 55 counties. So I just wanted to highlight that. And if you haven't shared your volunteer opportunities, give it a try. It's really easy, and we would love to help you find more volunteers in the state. And then one more thing for this section, this is everyone's favorite, is our grant funding. So we also provide grant funding at Volunteer West Virginia. And this includes our mini grants. You might be familiar, we provide mini grants to fund volunteer projects. It's usually $500. And we've also done mini grants for volunteer recognition events. So those are really quick and easy grants we like to promote. It's not open now. We normally do our mini grant funding in fall. And Dick said he's going to help with Calhoun. So Dick, you are a shining star for me. So thank you. We also do funding around volunteer management through our Volunteer Generation Fund, which we just wrapped up, and our AmeriCorps funding. So we're going to share a few of these funding opportunities right now. We have 2, and I'm going to just talk about the volunteer funding that we have available right now. So right now we've been promoting our September 11th Day of Service and Remembrance grants. This is to plan a large celebration in your community. And when you think back at September 11th, how it brought everyone together, I remember seeing flags across the neighborhood. It brought us together at a really horrible time. So in the spirit, we want to bring West Virginians together to tackle a large project in their community. So you can receive up to, $15,000, I think I said 5, to host a large service project. It can be leading up to the months to September 11th and then have a celebration, or you can have one big project on September 11th. Each project will be responsible for recruiting and managing 50 volunteers. So we just opened this funding opportunity. Is there one more slide for this? I'm not sure, Christina. Yes. So if you're interested in this, your letter of intent is due by January 25th. And what that means is you just fill out a form telling us a little bit about your project and that you're interested in applying. And we do this so everyone doesn't fill out a large grant application that doesn't get selected. So we'll go through the letters of intent. We have different focuses and we'll pick our top projects that would make the most impact. And then if you're selected, you'll be invited to submit a full application on February 29th. And we also just wrapped up a training webinar about this grant. So it goes into much more detail and it's on our website. There's a recording of it. And I'll be mailing out these slides after today's presentation. So all these links that are in purple, you'll be able to click. So if you want to apply for this grant, you can visit our website or just wait till I send you the slide in about an hour and you can click on it. And then our second grant is kind of a bonus grant. This grant is not through us, but it's through our mother agency. I don't know if it's a mother or a father agency, but this is the agency that's above us, is the West Virginia Departments of Arts, Culture, and History. So that's the agency above us. And they're also helping out with this project. And they're doing 9/11 grants all around public art, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if we have any 9/11 murals in West Virginia. I've never seen it. So you can apply up to $5,000 to install an art exhibit in your hometown that honors veterans and that engages community volunteers. And you're going to celebrate it on September 11th. So if you want to jump on the bandwagon and not do a huge project or get some public art in your community, this is going to be perfect. So you can visit their website to apply for this grant, but I just wanted to shout it out since we're working on this project together. So I did 2 funding opportunities, and if you remember, we're going to have one more, and Hannah's going to tell us about it. And she's going to also explain a little bit more about AmeriCorps. So I want to go ahead and introduce Hannah, and she's going to be going through the rest of these slides in this section.
Thank you, Dana, and thank you all again for being on this call. We are going to go through AmeriCorps programming in West Virginia and some of the impact and really what we're doing in communities. So we have about 500 AmeriCorps members that serve in West Virginia each year. Some serve only in the summer, some are serving year-round, but in total, it's about 500 members. Last year, AmeriCorps members in West Virginia received over $2 million in education awards. So these are awards that are given to the college that they attend, and they can go towards courses and tuition. Members serve at nonprofits and government agencies. You might see a member in a food bank, or you might see a member in an orchard growing food to support kind of the local food economy. We have members in schools, so really there's a wide range. Other programs include VISTA, NCCC, and AmeriCorps Seniors. So those are the other branches of national service, and AmeriCorps State National is what we manage here at Volunteer West Virginia. So you can see members mentoring youth. You might see them restoring historic properties. They also do some conservation projects to support acres of public land. We have some peer recovery supporters that help with addiction recovery. And as mentioned earlier, they grow local food and manage farmers markets. So it's really a great opportunity for people to get involved in all different areas of community service. These are our programs for this year. So again, very diverse. Some of our school programs would be Education Alliance, Energy Express. LifeBridge is multi-focus, so they do a lot of work with veterans, but then also some high school credit recovery and substance use prevention. Preservation Alliance of West Virginia, they do a lot of historic renovation projects. AFNHA also does some historic renovation, but does a lot of conservation projects. High Rocks is really focused on community building and supporting youth. So they have mentoring programs, but they also have STEM programs and really cool robotics programs for kids to get involved in. Grow Ohio Valley, they're one of our programs that actually grow food. So they have urban orchards, and they grow food that's then donated to people in the community. And they also run nutrition education programs and gardening programs. West Virginia Ready, one of our newer programs, they're really focused on putting individuals in communities that might need help scaling up, and also giving individuals a lot of job experience with like GIS mapping. So they're really have really great training opportunities. Flipside is another one of our new programs, and they mentor students in the Fairmont area and also do some after school programming. And then Williamson is another new addition, and they're working in the Housing Authority in Williamson. So those members are of the Housing Authority community, and they're running programs for other Housing Authority members and really serving in the community that they belong in. So that's just a brief overview of all the wonderful things we have going on in West Virginia right now in our AmeriCorps programming. So as you can see, they are all across West Virginia. Really, we have great representation, wonderful program directors who work in the community, wonderful site supervisors and members, and it really takes everyone to make this happen. These are color coded, so you can see kind of some areas where there might be different groups. And this is an interactive map. So we can probably put the map link in the chat, but you can actually visit it and see where those points are across the state. But we do have really good representation, and you can click on each point and see what the site is and what the programming is in that area. So AmeriCorps members get a lot of different benefits, and actually there's an additional one that we've just added in the past 2 years. But it is a paid, what we call a paid volunteer experience or a paid civic service experience. So they do get a living stipend. They have money for college, which are the education awards that they put towards schooling. The new thing that we have is the tuition waiver for public colleges and universities in West Virginia. So members can serve 600 hours equals 1 semester of waived tuition at public colleges and universities across the state. So that is new. That was just actually introduced in West Virginia Code in the past year, and that's in addition to the education award. They also are eligible for health coverage through our AmeriCorps Core Network. And I think also it's just really great career experience. This can be a great gap year for high schoolers who are really wanting some hands-on, what do I want to do that I haven't experienced yet, which I really could have used at that age, right? I think a lot of us could have. So they can really have some hands-on experience. And a lot of diverse sites. So you could even do a lot of short terms in different sites and get a whole gap year that's really diverse and really moves around the state, and is involved in lots of different things like healthcare, mentoring, or gardening and growing food. So great career experience. Although we also do have retirees who come because they want to give back to the community. So I think it can meet you at all stages of life. This is one of our AmeriCorps members, Ryan Ewing. He's a LifeBridge AmeriCorps member. This is him serving Thanksgiving meal. And he shared that he can't think of a better way to spend the day with people I love and with his community. So that's really the spirit of AmeriCorps. You see people who are really integral in their communities, and they know people, and they're building up their communities, and this is a great great illustration of that. Looks yummy too. These are Grow Have Valley members who are doing a neighborhood cleanup in West Wheeling. And you can see one of our swag bags there, front and center, that our team designed. But this is Grow High Valleys, as I mentioned earlier, is based in Wheeling, and they do a lot of great gardening, growing food, and also beautification projects. So this is their team out doing that as a service project. This is a photo of Preserve West Virginia members, and they're doing a window restoration project at Prickett's Fort State Park in Fairmont. So this is the historic preservation that I mentioned a couple slides ago. And we actually get a lot of members from across the country who come specifically for this program because it can be hard to find field experience and hands-on experience in doing these kind of restoration things. So this is a snapshot of them restoring an old window. I shouldn't say old, but historic window up to standards. Yeah, they're at it. Overall, for 2023, AmeriCorps members, AmeriCorps site supervisors, AmeriCorps program directors, our beneficiaries, our community, we all achieve this together. So about 81,000 healthy meals provided. About 2,000 individuals receive drug intervention services. Well, 3,000 acres of public land supported, 60 veterans and military family members served, and we have about 66,000 children served overall throughout all of our programming, about 9,000 volunteers recruited and managed, and 14 historic properties restored. That's just a snapshot of what we were able to complete together in West Virginia. So there are several ways that you can get involved. You can become an AmeriCorps member. You can search available positions at that link there. So that'll be on the slide and maybe popped in the chat if you're interested in positions. You can host an AmeriCorps member. So if you're interested in becoming a site, you can contact Christina Cochran at Christina L. Cochran at westvirginia.gov. This route is if you're a site under a larger program and you would just be responsible for the member at your site. The third way that you can become involved is to start an AmeriCorps program. And that starts with our planning grant process. And that would be, you would have all the administrative responsibility and kind of building of AmeriCorps program. And due to that, we have a whole planning grant year that you go through to get ready. So that's what that is. To apply for the planning grant, you're applying for a whole year to build up your programming. So if you're interested in that, you can learn more at that link. So our current funding opportunities, actually we're right in the middle of our AmeriCorps planning grants, but you all haven't missed any deadlines yet. So the intent to apply and all the other deadlines are up on our website under grants. And basically, successful applicants will work with us September 2024 through August of next year to develop a new AmeriCorps program. So you'll be assigned consultants that will individualize a plan for you and help you build a grant application and really get you ready to become operational. And this is for programs that would like to utilize at least 5 AmeriCorps members. So we do like to stress this is for a bigger program. If you're only wanting 1 or 2 members, I really think the best thing is to host one at your site through a larger program, learn about AmeriCorps, and then go through this process later. But our planning grant process is now open. So if you're interested, please visit our website. Yep. And if you're want more information, I'll be hosting Planning grant webinar February 5th at 1 p.m. and you can register at the link at our website, and the intent to apply is due by March 7th. All right, thank you all for tuning in to some AmeriCorps, and I'm going to pass it back to Dana. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Thanks, Hannah. So that was a little snippet of AmeriCorps in the state, and whether you're new to AmeriCorps or a seasoned AmeriCorps alum in the call, we have all kinds of things to offer you, whether you want to be an AmeriCorps member, start your own AmeriCorps program, or share AmeriCorps opportunities in your community. So I hope that helped a little bit. And now we're winding down our hour. We're going to talk about the last branch of our tree. So we've talked about our volunteer services division. Hannah just shared about AmeriCorps. And now I'm going to share a little bit about our disaster services division here at Volunteer West Virginia and how we can help you. So one of the biggest programs that we do in our disaster management division is CERT, and these are community emergency response teams. And these teams are across the state. They're formed of volunteers, and what it does is it educates community volunteers in basic disaster response skills, such as fire safety, search and rescue, and first aid. And the thought behind this is if there was a large-scale flood or disaster in your community, there's not enough first responders to cover everyone. So if we are able to train community volunteers, they can help out as well. So that's kind of the premise behind CERT. And these volunteers are throughout the state. I want to say this picture might be from Beckley. If you're from the Beckley area, they have a really great shout out. Nellie just shouted out the Beckley team as I said that, so that's pretty cool. So last year, CERT volunteers spent over almost 4,000 hours in the community doing things from providing disaster preparedness trainings, drills, and disaster response. So this is a really great way to volunteer if you like being active in your community and if you want to practice first aid. Sometimes they do, like if someone went missing, they'll help with that. So this is a really cool program that's through Volunteer West Virginia. Very cool. Nellie said that's her class. I love how that worked out. That was meant to be. So here's another picture. Nellie probably recognizes these people as well. And I want to say this is from 2022, the Beckley CERT volunteers assembled over 500 preparedness kits for their spring preparedness fair. So these volunteers are out in the community making sure everyone's safe. So if CERT perked up your ears and sounds like something that would be a fun volunteer opportunity, we have teams around the state. I want to say maybe we have 5 to 7 different teams. Kara just did a great shout out that they are currently training a CERT team in Dunbar. So if you're in Dunbar and you want to get involved, that's a great plug. Thanks, Kara. And then on these slides, you'll see Gina's website. She manages the CERT teams, and you can find a CERT team near you. And another big way we help, I touched on this a little bit in the beginning, is that we promote volunteer opportunities during large disasters. So if ever there was a large flood or a wildfire or some other derecho, COVID-19 in your community, we will share volunteer disaster opportunities on our website so we can help you get involved. So that's kind of a little bit. So we have our CERT teams, we share volunteer opportunities during disasters. And then lastly, we really want to help people get prepared for disasters. So if you've ever seen a Ready West Virginia television commercial or a radio spot, that comes from Gina at our office. She is the lead for that, and it's our disaster preparedness campaign. And this is a public awareness campaign that helps West Virginians know what to do before, after, and during an emergency. So Gina has some really great disaster preparedness materials that she could send you, different flyers and handouts if you want to do a service project, or if your 4-H club or your Rotary Club wants to help get out emergency preparedness in your community. Gina can send you different things to help with that. So that's something that she helps with. And she also tables throughout the state at different events, encouraging West Virginians to get prepared. So that's kind of the third thing we do at Volunteer West Virginia that you would be surprised is our Ready West Virginia program. And that is a speedy overview of our programs. We broke them down in 3 divisions: volunteer services, AmeriCorps, and disaster services. And that just gives you a touch of what we do at Volunteer West Virginia and how we can help you all as a state agency. So now I think we're going to go into any questions. It's pretty informal. If you want to unmute yourself, you can, or if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat box. And just as a reminder, I'll be sending out a recording of this webinar and the slides in about an hour. So you'll be able to get all these different grant opportunities and links at your fingertips. So I'm just going to pause and see if we have any questions. And I want to do a shout out to all the participants today chiming in, Kara and Nellie. I thought it was so cool. Valerie, how they're Aaron. There were so many different people on the call today that are already interacted with us and were able to do a little spotlight. So that was really cool. I've never had that happen so much. So
Hey Dana, do you guys have any do you guys have anything that has the Be Kind logo, stickers, cups, anything to include in handouts and stuff? My agency is all about kindness, and I got a whole big wall and I got all kinds of stuff that I hand out about that, and I just was
Cool.
curious if you had anything.
Yeah, Kara, I can send you a few things. Send me an email with your address. Do you want me to put my in the chat? If anyone else wants a few things, I'll send you a little goodie bag.
I didn't know if there was a place like you could purchase stickers or whatever it is that you guys do, but it's what caught my eye originally after the news. I don't even watch the news, but it all showed up there one day, and it caught my eye for sure. So I was just wondering if you had anything like
Oh, I
that.
love that you found us. Yeah, Kara, I'll send you some cups and stickers. I put my email in the chat. Make sure you get the second one. My first one.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll send you some stuff for free. Thanks for asking.
Hey,
I'm so
thanks.
flattered. Let's see. And then Erin said she watched the 9/11 training session. Yeah, you really got a big dose of Volunteer West Virginia today, Erin. That makes me smile. All right, you all. I'll give you one more second. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We have a feedback survey Christina just dropped in the chat. Let us know how we did today and if you want any future topics. And I think this was a great kickoff to 2024. We're going to have a great year, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you,
Dana.
Bye. See y'all.